or instructor here for another Go Live together this week. Before I go live with my guest this week, I would like for everyone to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to this content that will not only help assist you as an entrepreneur, your ink card fingerprinting business, but your mobile ink card fingerprinting business as well. This week, I have the pleasure of introducing Beverly Neal Clinton of New Mexico Mobile Notary and Fingerprinting, located in Los Alamos, New Mexico, the Land of Enchantment. Mrs. Neal Clinton, how are you doing today?
We're well. Thank you for asking and thank you for having us.
Likewise, thank you for accepting my invitation here on Fingerprinting Gurus. And I must say, I appreciate uh, you for accepting that invitation. First and foremost, Ms. Neil Clinton, how did you get into the mobile fingerprinting business?
Good question. So, I was a court reporter for a number of years. So, I always had a notary, or rather, I was a notary public because of the business of being a stenographer. And we moved here. Our children were smaller. I didn't want to leave our children with people I didn't know. So, I went back into the corporate environment. But my spirit and my soul is that of an entrepreneur. I have always liked working for myself. Um, I've always liked um, knowing that I can make it happen instead of the handshakes that are sometimes involved in the cogs. Because you depend on other people. They may not move the way you do. They may not think the way you do. Whereas when it's you, then you know it's either going to get done or it's not. And if it doesn't, then you can point the fingers back at yourself.
Correct.
So I was looking for something else to do. And I ended up starting with Mark Willis's program for the loan signing services. And then I went to Andre. No, I'm sorry, back it up. I went to Andre Hatchett first. And then I went through his notary business school. Then I went to Mark Willis's. And then I ended up doing the executive signing agency. That's how I got into the notary portion of it. And then for the fingerprinting portion, at that time I had a business partner, and we've since dissolved our relationship. And now it's again just me and other people I've trained. But
Right.
we started with we started going to gun shows, and I said to her, "Girl, look, I." And she was like, "Don't worry about it. I got it. I got it."
Right.
Because she had red hair, and she was all. So we would do gun shows,
Okay.
and that's when we really started seeing the need for fingerprints because you have a lot of people who are doing concealed carry.
Right.
So they're purchasing their guns there. They want to do their fingerprints there. And at the time, I didn't have live scan. I only had the hard cards. Now, what
Correct.
about the hard cards is, um, and it depends again on what the person wants. Do they want live scan or do they want the hard cards? What I found is when I was doing the hard cards, I didn't have access to the live scan. And so I would have to send them in manually. I would have to send them in registered mail. I would have to call them literally like every, did you get my cards? Did you get my cards? Did you get my cards?
Right.
And then they would say yes, and then people would know. So when live scan came on line for New Mexico, I literally called those people once a week. I started just flipping script. And I think the way that I was able to get the live scans was I said, "Hey, I'm mobile. The
Right.
rest of them carry." And at that time, the police department here did the fingerprints. And I can't tell you how many people I ended up getting from rollovers because they would say, "Hey, I went to the police department. They said they were open. They're not open. They're not there."
Right.
And then we live in such a small town, so I talked to the chief of police. I'm like, "Listen, how about you just let me take that off your plate?"
Right.
He was on board with that. So it was a natural transition to go from them to me. And
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, that's how it all started.
Okay. So basically, you was already within that realm for as a profession to easily transition into the mobile ink fingerprinting and notary business. For as the mobile ink fingerprinting, how long did it take you to transition uh, into mobile ink fingerprinting?
I, I did the notary for about a year, and then after that is when we incorporated the fingerprinting. And
Okay,
even we started with the hard cards first,
okay.
then we transitioned into live scan.
Okay. With your experience with both live scan and, of course, the ink fingerprinting cards, uh, which do you prefer, and advise the viewing audience as to why do you prefer a particular method?
Great question. So it's interesting. The hard cards take up more time because the digital prints are instantaneous. They tell you immediately whether or not they're good or not.
Right.
Times I think I've only had one card returned to me. And again, after you do it for a while, then you know what a good print is versus not a good print.
Exactly.
So I've only had one set of cards sent back. I prefer digital prints,
Okay.
but but financially the hard cards are a better profit margin. Um,
Exactly.
so because with the digital prints, depending on which state you are, maybe your state has that state has a contract with another agency.
Right.
They're going to get the majority of the funds that way because they have to go through them. And
Correct.
and then what ends up happening is that agency then pays you, which is only a percentage of what they make.
Right.
It I would say if I were to choose, I would certainly say the hard cards are going to come before the digital. But again, it just depends on what the company wants for their people.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what Mrs. Neil Clinton has advised, there are huge profit margins within the mobile ink card fingerprinting sector. With that being said, you do not have to pay out fees to agencies once you roll fingerprint cards for yourself, basically, versus digital fingerprints. Let's say, for instance, you have $100 assignment, for example. Um, there are agency fees tagged along to that. You could have state fees, city fees, local fees, uh, federal fees, and once all those individuals get their fees, you're probably left with, I'd say, about $40, maybe 30, after all those fees are taken out, and you also have to account for your operational expense. So, um, looking at digital versus ink card fingerprinting, um, you get all of your profits right up front. So there are pros and cons. There are trade offs, but there are benefits to both. Um, uh, with Mrs. Neil Clinton doing both, she has the best of both worlds there in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Um, Forrest, um, are you able to do the the I guess the live scan mobily? You do that mobily as well?
I do. Um, what I try to do with hospitals for
Okay,
for nurses, I say, hey, listen, if you can bring in, at least 10 people, then it's worth it for both of us if I
exactly.
them all. Now, if you're going to do onesies, twosies, then you're probably going to come to my office because it just doesn't behoove me because the time that I'm spending going to you is times when I could probably take in another assignment.
Right. So what is your target market there in Los Alamos, New Mexico, for your target market?
So we live. here in Los Alamos is a national laboratory.
Okay.
We always have people who are migrating in, migrating out, and they need fingerprints. So that's where some of my market comes in. Other markets will be vehicles. Um,
Okay.
if someone is their the titles of the vehicles, those come into play.
Okay.
Power of attorneys come into play. Um, Employment comes into play. When I say employment, I'm going to drill down on that and say, um, like here in New Mexico, they allow family members to take care of other family members. So it's almost like a home health care, but they will pay.
Okay.
So then I'll have family members who need to take prints for other family members in order to be able to take care of them. That's come into play a lot. Um, Again, we have lots of traveling nurses because we're pretty remote. That comes into play with them.
That, that's huge everywhere.
Doctors who are transitioning to other states, those states require the prints, those come into play. So, yeah, I don't want to say that I cast a broad net. Um, and at the same time, we also understand that when that phone rings, that could open up other doors to other things.
Exactly. Also advise for as what are the qualifications, I guess, there in the state of New Mexico for mobile ink fingerprinting technicians, if any?
So, for the mobile ink, there are no formal qualifications. However, having said that, we've always found that whenever you have some credentials to back you up, it always works better.
Exactly.
So for me, there was with the digital. I'm gonna bifurcate the answer. So with the digital prints, there was formal training with live scan.
Okay.
For the for the hard cards, that was with Andre Hatchett.
Correct.
And then there was another agency that's out of Vegas that I looked at going to, but that was in the middle of COVID when nobody was going anywhere.
Right.
So it's really just been through OJT,
Okay.
in addition to the training with Andre Hatchett.
Okay. And when Miss Neil Clinton advised for his OJT is basically on the job training, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much what you will get uh, just studying the material, but mainly you're going to learn uh, the ins and outs of this business by being hands on, day in and day out. There is no course out there that can teach you the work ethic of it all. You just have to go at it day in and day out, um, doing the process. So, if you want to get into this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, it's you may not want to just sit there and just think about the process. You have to be one of those individuals that's going to want to go out and do the process and not think so much about it. Um, that's what it takes. No mentor, no trainer, no coach alive that can pretty much push you to get out there and do the hands-on portion. You got to have that drive to move forward.
I,
Uh,
you know, that's a great segue. That's true with being an entrepreneur in general.
mhm.
I think in real estate they have this saying that if you don't, you only eat what you kill.
I like that.
So there is you've got to want to be after that hustle because you can't blame anyone else if the phone rings and you don't pick up, or if you can come up with a million gajillion different excuses as to why you didn't get in your car, drive
Right.
over, handle that business, and then take care of it. I'm fortunate to I partner with Google. Google has streamlined a lot of my process from the making of the appointments to the paying of the invoice to um, setting things on my calendar. They
Oh,
they're really good at that. So
interesting.
Yeah, and they actually reached out to me. They were like, "Hey, we see you're a small woman-owned business, and we're working with." And my hand was raised, and they're like, "What do you need?"
All
And
right.
and they have really been. I mean, even with my Facebook page, they make sure that I'm up to date, or they make sure
Okay.
use that. One of the things we always laugh at is they said, "Beverly, are you asking for reviews?" And I can always tell, like, when I stop asking because my numbers go down, and they'll call and go, for those reviews. So it's been a relationship that's really helped a lot because again, as a small business owner, you are the CEO all the way down to the janitor. You handle it
Right.
all.
Right. That is a huge nugget that you speak on Google like that. I would have never thought just speaking to you in regards to that. Well, that right there, I must say that could be an ebook in itself, Miss Neil Clinton, if you decided you wanted to go that direction to help other aspiring mobile ink fingerprinting technicians on how to tap into uh, that segue of getting additional business. You got your hands onto something there. So you just hold that tight. You can do some coaching from that. So I trust you me that's something special you got there. That's the first I've heard of something like that.
Well,
Also,
that's why I said I'm fortunate. I've had people, and you know this. One of the great things about this business is that you meet so many amazing people.
right,
You meet people that you may not ever meet at any other time, and then you just build a rapport. You pass out your business cards. They tell somebody else because we all know, without question, the best form of advertisement is word of mouth. Um,
exactly,
when someone that says, "Hey, I'm calling you up because I got your name and number from this person. They said you did a wonderful job," and of course they're looking for the same experience, and that's what you'll provide because you're a professional. So yeah, it's this is a business that offers a lot more rewards than the regular 9 to 5. I think.
right. It's one of those skill sets that it just keep on giving. And it's funny that you say that for as uh, customers uh, giving you word of mouth. As far as when I had come through your Google reviews, your clients described your business with Google with 65-star reviews. They said that you were professional, responsive, efficient, pleasant, prepared, amazing, and least but not last, they advised that you were a class act. And it doesn't surprise me as to why Google pinpointed you as the I guess the pallbearer for the fingerprinting aspect of the business. And I just want to say, from one mobile ink fingerprinting technician to another, you inspired me and many others across the country.
Thank you. We really try. We understand that we are in business because people call us. We understand that we continue to be in business because of the level of professionalism that we offer. And and of all of the adjectives that you just said, my favorite is efficient. I am I do not like to waste time. If I'm going to be late, I call people, I let them know, I
Right,
explain, what my estimated ETA is so that we're not wasting anybody's time. So
exactly.
so thank you for that. That's very kind.
Oh, it's no problem at all, McNeil Clinton. Um, Also, what is your starting range for is your mobile ink card fingerprinting business there in Los Alamos, New Mexico?
It's interesting. I didn't realize that I was as low as I was. I have since increased my fees. Um,
Okay,
so I start at $100 for the ink cards,
okay,
and then I provide them with two cards, um, so that I I've had people come in with one, and I'm like, no, honey, just trust me on this one, take two, and they're always happy that they do. So yeah, two
Exactly.
at $100.
Right. I also had a YouTube segment on that spits out every Wednesday in regards to why individuals or fingerprinting technicians should require the clients to get two fingerprint cards. It's a must. It's not only saving you as the mobile ink fingerprinting technician time, but it's definitely saving that client some time as well, because they ultimately suffer, not the fingerprint technician, but well, we both suffer, but more them than us in the case.
Mhm.
Also, what other services do you provide within your business alongside digital and mobile in-car fingerprinting?
I provide loan signing services, and it was so busy up here that we actually have an office in Albuquerque, which is 2 hours away, which is my son and his wife.
Okay,
And I have a retired teacher here who I trained, and I have both of my sons and my sisters who.
okay.
So it was. I remember when we were in the thick of running around that my husband would just make coffee, and I just said, "What day is this?" and and I would literally, be up at 0 dark 30 for some days and get home at like 0 dark 30. I remember someone calling me because again, New Mexico's sparse; it's spread out all over the place. I was going into somewhere which was already like I don't know an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and they were asking me to be somewhere else that was going to be an hour and a half away from where I was, plus
Uh-huh.
another to get there. And I knew I was about to lose my phone coverage, and I'm like, I am not going to be able to get there till like I don't know 11:30 tonight. That's fine. Or
Right,
midnight. It's fine. So I'm in my car and I'm rolling, and at that time that's when I had my printer, my scanner, everything in my car because I was printing and scanning and rolling, doing the
right.
and I got there and I just remember calling them saying, "Hey, listen, I'm on my way here. Please make sure that you have your pajamas on because I just don't want to walk up in there and just like you're not ready."
Okay, okay,
So
okay, excellent.
we offer mobile notary as well, um, and loan signing services, and again, a few of the I-9s, not many of those, not
Right,
um, power of attorneys. Um, there is a nursing home that's actually started to use us a lot. Uh,
okay.
all and it's funny because I guess they ran out of my cards. They were like, "We really need you to bring some more cards." Um,
Yeah,
and again, through word of mouth, and if I'm
right.
unable, then the teacher that I worked with, her name, by the way, is Andrea Detterman.
Hmm.
We tend to back each other up. If I'm offline, I refer them to her. If she's offline, she refers them to me, and that way we always have coverage.
Okay. So, as far as your area there in Los Alamos, New Mexico, how is your competition? Do you have any other competition within your city uh, or nearby?
I'm shaking my head no because it's interesting with Andrea when she first started working with me. We would see these fees that would come in and they would be lower, and I would say to her, "Don't worry about those people."
Right,
And you alluded to this earlier. Once you are able to estimate uh, the cost of your operations, your materials, your time, and I could tell that based on how they responded, they were young and they had had no one to mentor them. They
right,
just saw $55 and they just got all happy, and it's like, no, honey, that's not the way that works. Um, and and so over time, she began to see what I was saying is
right,
you have to factor in your time, your costs, your materials, all of those things because that money that you see on the front end may look like a lot, but it's really not.
right. Exactly.
So we don't have competition. We found that here's what we say to people. When we quote you a price, someone may not like that price. And so I am okay with saying, listen, when your fee structure changes, it's okay for you to give me a call back.
Right.
Because what could happen is you could choose the person who is going to cost less. But then if they miss something, you're still going to pay that fee that I asked you to pay originally because that's still the same amount of time. I don't care if it's 5 pages or 10.
Exactly.
And so if you'd have paid me on the front end, then we'd all been happy.
Right.
So
And also, in a lot of cases, that keeps you from picking up problematic customers in the first place when they
yes,
don't meet your price mark. Now,
yes,
everybody's going to be your client, and you have to look at it like that. If they don't approve of your fees, let them go somewhere else where they'll get dusted up, and
yes,
they'll come back
yes,
and see you.
yes. And you have to be able to be comfortable with that because again, when you're young and you're starting out, quoting those fees may leave your mouth a little dry, but the more you say it, as with anything, the more you say it, the more comfortable you become. And you also value your time.
Right.
You have to know your worth and your value and not be willing to
Compromise.
hmm,
Right, ladies and gentlemen, within this field for as mobile ink fingerprinting, you have to stand firm to your fees. Now, individuals that call your place of business saying, "Oh, I can get X, Y, Z cheaper elsewhere," just wish them luck and advise them that, hey, look forward to assisting you in the future and let them be happy walking along to their journey
hmm.
to perhaps we'll just use this as an example to get that rejection card, and then they'll be ready to come see you. So
Yeah,
that's how to sum that up.
because Andrea called me over the a couple of days ago because I was out of town, and she was saying that someone called and they were not happy with her fees, and she essentially said the same thing. That's really okay. But then they called me thinking, okay, well she'll take it. And so when I informed them that hey, I'm out of town, here's who you can call.
Right,
So then they had to humble themselves and go back. And it's like, you know what? There was no reason for you to be snotty. There's no reason
right,
to be upset or
right,
irate. People pay these fees all the time.
right. Yeah, these individuals, they don't understand the process. They be wanting curbside service for great value prices.
Mhm,
So just nod and just keep it moving.
mhm.
Um, as far as how long you been in the mobile ink fingerprinting profession?
Going on 3, 4 years now.
Okay. And as far as you've been in the business for 3 to 4 years, how
As
has it?
but as a notary, it's been over. It's been forever.
Okay.
Like
Have
since
you have you leveraged your notary in the field of mobile ink fingerprinting?
um no, I try to keep them separate. How
Okay.
are times though when they're not able to be. It's like if I go to uh, because I'm just thinking there was one case that came up to mind. I went to do it was some type of will that they
Okay.
but I was there for the husband and the wife, but then the husband calls me back and there was something he needed to do with his mother.
Okay.
And that was a fingerprinting thing. So it was they got my information because they always send your information to your customer. And that's when he saw that I did fingerprinting as well. So he was like, hey, can you do that? And I just had to explain to him, so long as you understand that these are separate transactions.
Okay.
You initially came here for this, but you're wanting this. That's a completely separate fee. And once he got that, then he was good to go.
Okay. And so as far as uh, I always do this every segment, forget my train of thought. Um, well, just go ahead and
About
fill
myself,
me.
you make me feel better about myself because that happens.
I do it every segment, but however, um, for as who do you recommend most to in your mind to that's best suited or best fits to be um, a mobile ink fingerprinting professional? What the individual should look like, possibly?
They need to be an A personality. They need to be able to, they can't be easily intimidated. They have to be a go getter. They have to be confident in their capabilities. They have to be a forever learner because you're always learning something new. You can't just, this isn't a one and done thing.
Exactly.
You have to love learning. Um, yeah, that's those are the qualities and traits I look for.
Okay. And for as mentorship, how do you feel about mentorship for individuals that want
I
to
think
get into the
I think
space?
I think it's important. I think that if there's a reason why that saying is don't reinvent the wheel. Um, we can all do the bumps and scrapes and scratches and bruises. Um, but my grandmother used to have a saying, I find myself using this saying so much now: do better when you know better.
Right.
And if you don't know, then you're just doing the best you can. And at the same time, if you could back up a little bit, realize that you're still a neophyte or a baby, and understand there are other people who can show you things that can help you be a better tech. Um, I don't know. I just don't know how that wouldn't appeal to anyone to not be a better whatever it is they're doing.
Right. Okay. And as far as that, um, there I go again. How do you, okay, for as this is what I have. For as the training opportunities, do you train any inspiring mobile ink fingerprinting
Yes,
technicians? And if so, what does that look like?
yes, yes. As a matter of fact, when I think there's some pictures on my web page
Yeah,
where,
beautiful website, by the way.
oh, thank you. I'm almost sure there are pictures on my website where we were in training to show our technicians how. And what we did is we had them roll someone else's prints, and then we had that person, because at that time we had like one, two, three, four, five, six people. So
Okay,
match them up and literally like just roll them all over so that they could each roll and be rolled, and so they could
correct.
feel for it, and then they could also see where they messed up and how.
Right,
So yeah, it was almost like, and we were at a college down in Albuquerque, because we had some people from our Albuquerque office down there, and we just, because again it's a feel, you'll get a feel for it. Not to mention, like when you're at the gun shows, those people are really, they already, they have in their minds things that they want to do, so you want to make sure that you don't waste their time.
right,
You want to be, again, efficient. You want to be effective, and then you want to be able to give them their cards, and you want to have the transaction all take place seamlessly.
correct. And also, uh, what have been your, I guess, your largest day for as being in the mobile ink fingerprinting business for as your dollar amount?
Ooh,
Just a single day. It could be any year.
see, that's funny. So I've had, for my fingerprinting days, maybe maybe 250, maybe.
Okay,
On my notary days, though, I've had a couple of $2,000 days.
right.
Not a
Two
couple.
fifty still, 250 still outstanding for the mobile ink fingerprinting space, considering uh, the amount of time it takes to do that. Probably didn't take you no more than what, about 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Took me
And
longer than it took me to actually do the prints.
okay, but
Yeah.
it takes some Americans almost probably 2 days to make that, roughly. So
Yes.
yeah, we really do make our incomes pretty quick and move on to the next assignment.
Yes.
So are you looking to mentor any individuals within the Los Alamos, New Mexico, and surrounding areas for mobile ink fingerprinting.
Funny that you said that. There's a woman who's in another town. It's called Mesilla Valley. She's not close to me, but she has asked me about it. So we're in conversations about it. And it was funny because she was grateful that I did it because she said she talked to some other people and they were a bit tight lipped. And I just find that unfathomable because whenever you can show someone else something else that you've learned, why would you hoard that? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Miss Neil Clinton is saying, it's not more so just hoarding the information. Remember, you get into any space, whether it's mobile fingerprint or probably flipping hamburgers at a franchise, you got to have skin in the game. So when you get a mentor, uh, nothing comes free. You have to pay to play, uh, pay these mentors for their experience to get you from A to Z with, uh, I guess, minimal problems as possible. Because myself and Neil McClinton here, we have had those roadblocks, and we could prevent you all from having those roadblocks as well in your area. For as what she could teach you and what I could teach you is based differently based on the demographics where I'm at. What I do here in Alabama may not work there in Los Alamos, New Mexico, and vice versa. So you have to take those things into account. Um, Ms. Neil Clinton, to round out this segment, um, how can they contact you by email? If so, can you provide that email?
Yes, it's NM, actually it's Beverly at NMMNF. And my husband says, "What were you thinking? That is such a tongue twister." So I'm it's it's Beverly at, it's the initials for New Mexico Mobile Notary and Fingerprinting, which is NMMNF, tongue twister, .com. Uh, my telephone number, I'm sorry, my girls have
Tell them I said, hey, woof, woof, woof.
the my telephone number is 505-412-0995. Thor.
You gotta love them dogs.
I do too, but I want to be quiet right now. So yeah, those are the two ways. And of course, you can always go to my website. If you did mobile notaries in New Mexico,
He basically telling you time up, basically.
pretty much, right? So again, if you go, honestly, if you go in New Mexico and you put in mobile notary or mobile notary near me or mobile fingerprinting, I should populate number one thanks to Google.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, please join us next week on Friday, March 17th, 2023, as fingerprinting gurus travel to North Carolina, the Tar Heel state. Please like, share, and subscribe to this content. Bye.
Bye, Tommy. Thank you so much.